Good morning, New Eden! Today is August 21st, 2022, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and today we will be reviewing the Gallente and Caldari warzone. We'll be taking a look at the kills that are happening in Old Man Star and Hey, Die Less. And going over the Battle of Yvangier, where the Galente fought the Caldari over a Caldari Aster house that had been in its armor and hull timer. And I learned a couple of things. But let's go ahead and start it off here by kind of just taking a look at .land maps. And let's just take a look at the Galente and Caldari warzone here. Off to the right, you can see the Galente are currently only holding, 13 systems right now. The Indragal just flipped last night. I was part of that. We have that on stream. It was a little bit of piratey activity, but the Caldari had no response for the late night fleet on Saturday. There was a little bit of playing that was happening in Old Man Star and Hey Die Less. But most of the concentration of fighting is in Dealy's and Old Man Star at this point. That's where I see a lot of good fights that are happening. The Caldari have taken Old Man Star, and that is on their one of their staging points now. I have also seen them quite a bit in Yvangier, but I believe that people that have really bad Galente standings, -5 or lower, have problems with living out of Yvangier because of the Galente diamond rats that are currently camping the Dealys and the Charm Gate from time to time. So there is quite a bit of fighting that's happening in this area. It's really nice. The Galente stage out of like Fliet, and there's a little bit of staging that happens over in Murathan. We also have control over like Mocklin, Reneril, Abenala, and Ugalis. And so yeah, lots of potential for us to continue to not allow for them to have full control. We'll see what happens when CCP resets things. They're getting rid of the tier system, which, I think will help, and it's just, doing the more dangerous systems get you better LP to a certain degree. Like these frontline systems get you much better LP, and the system right behind the frontline system is also considered a okay, I believe, like the base amount that you kind of get right now if you had tier 2. And hopefully frontline systems dish out a decent amount of LP, because I want people, I like the idea of concentrating areas that everybody can easily identify as being, especially if you're in the war. Like neutrals might need to figure out things a little bit differently, but they'll probably still, I want to see a UI update. I haven't seen anything like that yet. We don't I really want to see what this goes live on Sissy, and see what happens over on the test server. I'm definitely going to have to take a look at these changes. I like a lot that's coming down the pipeline that I'm hearing about all of this, and supposedly sometime probably September is when this stuff is going to be really start being introduced. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they bring here. But at this point in time, the Caldari have backed us into a corner in the war zone at this time. You can see anything that is like fully blue, you know, are systems that are basically in Caldari, full Caldari control. Anything that is going green is the Caldari starting to lose the system. If it's green on the left-hand side, that means that the Galente or the Caldari own the system. And if it's blue on the left-hand side, that means that the Galente have control of the system and they're fighting back and forth. I feel like should be okay. Yeah, so blue represents how much the Caldari own the system. Green represents how much the Galente own the system here. And so, you know, strongly, you know, Fliet has always been a good stronghold of ours. Mocklin, Renerol is pretty good. Albanol is pretty strongly, and Ukulele's is pretty strongly in our favor at this point. We've been able to hold down those systems up in this little batch area of, I believe this is all Placid up here. But the Caldari just have this, you know, strong, you know, back control. I mean, basically we're doing front lines right now without front lines really existing to a certain degree, you know, without mechanics being involved at this point. So I am excited to see when this switches over. I really want to see a cool UI update for like informing us where the, you know, different zones are and what's going on, because it's just a small war zone. You know, you don't need to have like a map of all of Eve having, you know, this for this new UI, just a little war zone here. But let's go ahead and jump on over to looking at what's been going on in Old Man Star here. So over the last week here, you know, we've got quite a few kills, 280 characters, 127 corporations, 51 alliances, for a total of 340 kills, and 145 different ship types or something. I'm not sure what the ship thing is. I never have been able to figure that out. Old Man Star has been the staging point of the Caldari, so there is a lot of fighting that is happening. Hey, there's my death right here. That was last night. I stupidly tried engaging a Brutix, and that didn't work out very well. Melphalon is top for the kills, 85 for a corporation. Federal Defense Union at 52, Blue Canary at 51, United Caldari Navy at 50, Aderon Robotics at 43, Rec Industries at 36, Caldari Colonial Defense Ministry at 30, the Veterans Lounge at 25, Hungary at 24, and Veteros at 22. And this has been a really hard system for us to take, and they've consistently kept it deplexed. I do find it interesting what'll happen when downtime is no longer an aspect, because like controlling downtime is kind of important in faction warfare, and it's really hard to do because it's like out of time zone for the US for sure. Like that's like the beginning of our day basically, and so it's hard to get the good fight or the good like control over a system, and start deplexing or plexing, because at the beginning of the day there's just a shit ton of systems that are plexes that spawn, and there's a possibility of just having an insane amount of plexes that'll be inside of the system you're attacking or defending. So right after downtime, if you have a group of people or a mass of alts that you can go out and do plexing with at the right after downtime, you can get a major advantage. Which does, you know, there's going to be fighting then possibly around that time too over that. But usually one side dominates and the other side is not going to do it at all, from what I've seen. So Victor at 49 kills, top of the kill board right now. Young Punk 2 at 31. Damn Son at 30. Alexander at 29. Damon Kills at 24. Solaris Explorer at 23. Modern Dwarf at 23. Capital 1 at 22. Wife Commander at 21. And Psycho Crypt at 100. 100. Whoa, you know, bottom of the list. Getting that right at the 100. No, 80. 18. 18, not 80. Unbelievable. Alright. Let's move on over to Dealy. So just kind of comparing the two, it's good fighting that's happening in both systems, but Dealy's is like gone nuts. So we've got 649 characters involved, 265 corporations, 93 alliances, and 1,196 kills. If I remember correctly, somebody was saying Dealy's was like getting towards the top of the system lists. Where do I see that? Anyways. So yeah, Dealy's has a lot of fighting going on. 3 Vargers, a Loki, 4 Vargers at the top of the kill boards here. Let's take a look at the top killers here. So Smickzuck at 93 kills. Damon kills at 80. Victor at 80. Mid-Earth, maybe? Mid-Third at 65. Ireland at 60. Tursks at 58. Braldy at 57. Ranthern at 56. Young Punk 2 at 56 as well. And Solaris Explorer at 51. So lots of fun to be had. People being out here. We've got top corporations here are Fleet Pizza Delivery, United Caldari Navy, Fleet Pizza Delivery at 209, United Caldari Navy at 201, Hungary at 157. Mephilan at 147, Blue Canary at 132, Jurassic Rex Incorporated is at 129, Caldari Colonial Defense Ministry at 109, Quantum Cats Syndicate. Now these guys have come back into the warzone here, and I'm really excited to see them back. I played a lot with Q-Cats back in the beginning of faction warfare, and they were some of the coolest people. I personally haven't interacted with a bunch of them lately, but they are out there killing and causing damage. So Quantum Cats at 88, Venturus at 82, and Federal Defense Union at 70. Yeah, 1,198 kills for the last 7 days, and this space is 100% dangerous. So, all right, let's go ahead and poke really quick here at a kill mail that came in, and a little video that I was able to snatch up. So story from my point of view was I was hearing about some stuff being talked about on Discord about how there's a form up at 1700 hours or 1900 hours at 1930 or something. Anyways, they were forming up to do something about an Aster house, and I didn't know if it was defense or attack or what was kind of going on, because I didn't really dig into it because I didn't think that I was going to be able to do anything during that time period, because right at that time we had planned to go to the dog park, but my wife ended up getting called into work, so she wanted to delay that for an hour so that she could take care of a problem that was happening that she could do remotely. So I ended up jumping on and totally forgot about that there was, something going on during that time. And I was taking out my stabber and I was looking around, and I was in Yvangier, and there was like a shit ton, like 40, 50 Caldari that were in the system. And I was like, okay. As I like go to the Hey Dealy's gate, I'm like kind of checking it out, and a bunch of Galente jump into the system, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, that's a lot. Like, this is this is gonna be awesome. So like 50 on 50 it seemed to be, or maybe it was like 40 on 40 to a certain degree. At that about time it kind of seemed, because I think the local jumped up to around like 80-ish. We'll actually be able to double check that to a certain degree, because then the fighting kind of started breaking out, and I noticed that the Galente were warping towards the planet. So I was like, hey, what's kind of going on here? So this is like the beginning here, where I'm just kind of trying to figure out what's kind of going on. There's a bunch of Caldari that are in system. They're all in a bunch of Feroxes at this point. And the fighting is just kind of starting at this point, and I'm not able to join. I basically, I was like, I just want to get some shots of what's going on here, and they've fought with each other multiple times. There was the Caldari would engage, try and get the Galente to pull off enough DPS in order to prevent the timer from going down. The armor timer ended up being at about 3 minutes 30 seconds when it finally went down, and they had tried multiple times in order to try and catch them. And I tried take a shot at it, and the Feroxes against it was Harbingers mostly was the other side. So it was an interesting matchup. Definitely seemed to go the Galente way to a certain degree, but then there was some big huge hits that kind of happened. There was some bushes that happened that it's either third party or somebody allied with the Caldari. I haven't checked into the politics behind it, but the Caldari definitely helped them kill a paladin that they had booshed off at one point in the fight, and there was some really good. They caught some guardians. They caught some. Yeah, so there's like 100 and some odd people. Let's see. Yeah, 101. So at the very beginning of this fight, there's 84, 83 in local. And it stays about that way, you know, down to 74, 80. So it seemed to be like a 30 on 30, 40 on 40 fight, which is pretty solid. But then these guys came in, jumped up local to about 107. We hit some tie-dye. And that was one hell of a fight. Related kills, the Galente side, so this is just a rough estimate here, lost 45 ships, 70 points were lost, 5 billion ISK, and they came out with a 51% efficiency. The Caldari lost 53 ships, they had about 83 points lost and had 5.4 billion ISK lost. That brings them at a 48.1% efficiency. So actually really good. One of the big highlights here is the 2 battleships that went down. That I believe both of these were booshed off by the frigate gang that kind of came in. So we have mostly Harbingers on this side. We've got a Paladin, a Typhoon, an Apocalypse Navy issue. So the Apocalypse Navy issue was really expensive, I believe. And this got mostly booshed off. As you can see, it's just a bunch of little frigates just pounding the living shit out of this guy for the most part. We do have some Drake that, you know, 2 Drakes that got in on this from the Caldari side. 3 Drakes, but mostly just a bunch of little frigates, and they boosted off, and that's 1.2 billion ISK right there. The Typhoon was 351 million, and so that's where you get like a huge chunk here. And I believe that the Typhoon was also booshed. Yes, this is another boosh as well. And so this third party that came in with all these frigates, they definitely, it wasn't like they seemed to be, maybe they were coordinating with the Caldari, but if anybody has any information on that, I'd like to know. But they definitely went after the Galente strong and did really, really good booshes. They also booshed off some logistics T2 ships, I believe. Did those Guardians not die, though? I wonder if those Guardians actually were able to just withstand. Because I don't see any Guardian losses here. Surprising to even see Guardians here. Those Guardians got to get on a kill mail somewhere. It didn't die, so. But yeah, so that is, you know, a good little wrap up of what's been going on in faction warfare as of late in the Caldari and Galente warzone. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for checking this on out with me, hanging out with me. If you have any comments or anything that you think we can do to improve our show, or if you want to come in on as a guest, I'm going to be reaching out to some people, try and get some guests to come back onto the show here, or to come on for the very first time. If you're interested in joining up for the war effort, you can always put an application into Golden Age Stories in-game. Alts, spies, welcome, you know, whatever. We're just here to have fun, play in the war zone, and really looking forward to the changes that are coming. I think it's gonna be for the good of faction warfare. You can watch us live on Twitch every Sunday at 2200 Eve time. That's 5 p.m. Central Time. And if you missed the show, you can watch or just listen in to one of our podcasts, the Federation Frontline Report. That's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. So if there's a video version of it, you'll be able to, if you got like Spotify, you can watch as the podcast that video version. Of course, YouTube has a solid video version of this. And then, but of course, we're live on Twitch, Golden Age Stories on Twitch. Check us on out. If you have news that you want us to talk about on the show, after action reports and other kind of things that you want to talk about, that's just even the greater news of EVE Online that you want us to talk about, just go ahead and shoot me a EVE mail in-game, Frozen Fallout, or you can always email us at federationfrontlinereport@gmail.com. Thank you everyone, and have a great night.